All right, we are officially at 8:30 a.m. and I don't want to keep anybody else waiting, so we will officially kick this off. I'm going to introduce myself and also my colleague Sam White, who's going to be joining in the conversation today. But first, we want to just start with welcome, and we're so glad that you're here with us today, that we're able to at least meet virtually. I think you're still going to be able to gain a lot of knowledge if you haven't been to the convention before, which my understanding is all you guys are new to this. So when I first joined the platform this morning, I had mentioned to a few of you who are on, if we don't answer your questions in this session, we will definitely, Sam and I will reach out to you personally and have the opportunity to get you in the right place, because being new to the NAI or new to your current role, we want to make sure that you are definitely set up for success. So let's just go ahead and get started. My name is Paige Salveter. I'm the Vice President of Marketing for the NAIA. And Sam White, if you could introduce yourself.
Yes, my name is Samuel White. I'm the lead manager for the Customer Relations Department in our Eligibility Center.
All right, so you're in good hands with Sam. He's great. I haven't got to see him in a while, but very excited to have him on this call with me today. All right, well, let's just take a look at what to expect out of the convention. Specifically, there's lots of opportunities. Even though we're virtually, there's going to be a lot of opportunities for you all to network. We'll have 3 virtual events that you can do so. There'll be professional development opportunities, an opportunity for you to voice your opinion because the legislation matters, and this is the time for you to really stand up for your student athletes and what you're positioning yourself for your conference and your school, and really gain knowledge of the membership and the resources that we've developed for you. And we're really excited about the State of the Association. There's a lot of really positive things that are happening with us that we've made this year, even in a pandemic. And we'll end the week with talking about our 3-year strategic plan and where the NEI is going and the growth for success. We're very excited to share this. We've worked really hard on it. And I think that there'll be a lot of questions that might come out of it, but I think that you'll be very pleased with the direction that we're headed. So let's just take a quick look at how do you navigate the virtual platform. I don't know if everyone had a chance to watch the video or how you even get in, but you're here today, so somehow you knew how to get into the session. But I do just want to call out a couple of things when you're in the platform. As you go up here, I'm just going to use my mouse. You can always get back home by hitting the lobby. We do have an exhibit hall where you'll have a chance to engage with our sponsors. And then the sessions are here over in the auditorium. There's a lot of things in the platform as well that you can actually put things in your swag bag, so different sessions that you might want to download to get the PowerPoints. And then we'll have a little competition for the leaderboard, and I'll get into that in just a second for you to earn some prizes. And there's also an opportunity for you guys to earn some prizes today in this session, so make sure you pay attention to all the great information we're going to discuss. So this is what you already clicked in to get into the session today. So if you made it here, I'm pretty sure you know how to get to the rest of the sessions. So let's just kind of dive into our theme. As we all know, this year has been a challenge. So we did start off with saying today's challenge and tomorrow's opportunity. There's a lot of opportunities for us as an association that we've had a chance to reflect, being very proactive in how we navigated through the landscape of COVID-19 and just all the possibilities that we have ahead of us. So we felt like this theme was very warranted for this year. I do want to take a quick step. I don't know if everyone has followed us in social media this year, but I want to take a second to watch this video. It really ties the motion into our year, how we've made it through together. And then at the end of this seminar, you will also learn about how we're moving forward and making strides. And I'm really excited also for you to see another video on Thursday, how we are back. So take a look real quick. So I don't know about you guys, but I get really emotional when I see our videos that we put together. We've been through a lot this year, and I am really excited to tell you all the COVID testing that we did in 26 championships, almost 40,000 kids tested. We've only had 10 positives, and that says so much about our association and how much we care about each other and keeping each other safe, and that there is just more positive things to come. I do want to just give you a quick snapshot of what you're going to be looking at in our strategic priorities coming towards the end of convention. I'm not going to go into detail of this. Our COO, Lynn Parman, will be discussing these in detail, but we'll be focusing on specific pillars: membership, return on athletics, non-dues revenue, student athlete experience and development, and we've added a fifth pillar, diversity, equity, inclusion. Again, I'm not going to go into detail on these, but we'll talk about where you can learn more about the direction of where the NAIA is headed. So I want to go a little bit into our history. Sam White's going to take this section here.
Yeah, so when we think about looking forward, you always want to look at your past. Where have you come from? And one thing about the NAIA that I tell students and parents when I'm talking to them is that the NAIA is an association that is continuing to evolve, continuing to add value to our membership, to our student athletes. If you think, we came from an association that was based off of one basketball championship, one basketball tournament. And over the years, we've gone on to add up to 27 sports. We're looking to add more championships as some of these invitational sports like lacrosse are gaining steam on campuses. The other thing that I would point out is that we're an association of first. And so one of those things that's highlighted there is the women's flag football, which was a new emerging sport that was created in partnership with the NFL last year, as well as name, image, and likeness. So looking at our history, again, we are an association of first. We continue to evolve and add value to the association so that our members can feel like we are innovating and moving on to that next level. Although we're the experts in small business athletics, we're doing big things.
Right. And all those big things, this is really exciting news. Again, at the business meeting, just want you guys to know that we have now added 11 new members since the beginning of COVID-19. And several of those institutions are former members that have returned from the NCAA. So it says a lot about what we've done during this pandemic and how we continue to strive to increase our membership and the value that we bring for you. So we want to get into some of the key topics and sessions for you to attend. I'm going to let Sam cover this one for us.
So looking at the sessions, the main thing we wanted to point out were the general sessions. That's the reason that we come together. This convention is about networking. It's about learning about the new legislation. And in these general sessions, that's where a lot of this information is going to be introduced. So we definitely want you to take a look at those, as well as our keynote speaker. Great speaker. I haven't had the chance to meet him, unfortunately, since I'm virtual, but that's going to be a great a great session to be in, as well as the annual business meeting. That's where we vote on that legislation that's been introduced, as well as introducing the new members to the NAIA.
And then we did want you to know that the exhibit hall does open up today at 9 o'clock. This is the opportunity for you to network with our partners. We are proud to say that we've continued all of our partnerships with the national office, and we've continued to obtain new ones during the pandemic. There is an incentive plan, so this is your first opportunity to learn about how you can actually gain some prizes. I'm not going to go through this in deep detail, but there's certain levels. So if you engage with one of our partners more, 2, 3, visit certain booths, 5, 8. If you get crazy and go to 12 booths, you have an opportunity to win a Huddle Athletic Department package, which is a $7,000 value. So I encourage you to definitely take a look at that engagement. And there's also going to be a roundtable session for you to have the intimate conversations. The platform, when you get into it, looks like this. You can just literally click on what sponsor is of interest to you, and then you can engage with them directly. Some of them actually have certain times that they are available to chat with you. And then some of them will be there the entire time to chat with you, or you can also set up an individual appointment with them. So getting into our membership resources, sometimes websites can be challenging to navigate. And so we want to just kind of let you know exactly where to go to get all of your membership needs. When you do log into NAIA.org, uh, there's a lot of things that here we think about our student athletes and people who come to our site to learn about, what's happening with our sports, what's happening with our championships. But specifically for you, we have a tab for our members. And you're going to get a lot of, if you're a FAR, if you're a president, if you're a CCA, if you're an athletics director, there are certain tabs for you to click on to find the information that you're looking for. So when you click on that for members, we call this area here the right rail. It's down at the bottom on the right, but all the resources for you. And at the top, whatever your role is, you can find the resources for you. And then also who is your liaison for that specific role. Also, we have our Director of Membership, Julie McCullum. She has put together a lot of wonderful resources for you through our membership basics. So if you log into NAIA.org and you do /membership basics, there's a lot of information here on the application, sports sponsorship, champions of character, seasons of eligibility, all the dates that you need. And we do want to highlight some of those specific dates. Sam, do you want to take us through these?
Yeah, so these are the key dates that happen throughout the year. So June 15th, that is when national award nominations are due to your conference office, as well as the Champions of Character scorecard. So Champions of Character is our initiative for that character-driven atmosphere on campus. So definitely want to keep track of those dates. July 1st, which is a date that a lot of our new members probably have circled on their calendar because that's when new membership actively starts. So you'll gain access to NAIA Help and other NAIA platforms to conduct your business. July 15th is when membership dues are due, as well as catastrophic insurance enrollment. Those invoices will be mailed to you, so you don't have to worry about trying to find that information. You'll get that in the mail. August 1st is, for me in the Eligibility Center, what we call our peak season. So that's when we're actively really trying to get these students through for eligibility for this upcoming school year. September 1st is going to be the declaration of your interterm, as well as the character-driven coaching courses are due. And then December 1st is the annual Return on Athletics data submission. So that's the information that's submitted to our Return on Athletics office so that they can update the Return on Athletics insight information.
Great. And then Sam's going to take us through a snapshot of our governance structure, how it all comes together, where everybody's role is, and how our Council of Presidents lead our association with our CCA group and also through our presidents and national office.
Yeah, so what a lot of people don't understand when I talk to them about the NAI is they think that Jim Carr, who is our president and CEO here at the national office, kind of runs everything. But really, that's our Council of Presidents, a great group of individuals that help determine the course of the NAI. Now, Jim is obviously the president and CEO here at the national office and is the one that's tasked with coming up with that strategic vision. As well as the Conference Commissioners Association, or the CCA. They all work together to kind of move us forward and continue that evolution. This Council of Presidents also oversees our National Coordinating Committee, as well as a multitude of other councils. So the National Administrative Council. It is a Monday morning and I cannot talk. I apologize. Excuse me. Council of Faculty Athletic Representatives, and the Council for Student Athletes. So the Council of Student Athletes is one that I am particularly proud of, with the Association for Student Athletes and the Athletic Trainers Association. The Association for Student Athletes is a rather new association. I think it's been a couple of years now, but they've been instrumental in helping us change some bylaw proposals and make the experience for our student athletes better. As well as other standing committees like the Athletic Directors Association, Sports Information Directors Association, Faculty Athletics Representatives Association, and then there's some other associations here. I won't go through all of them. I think I've gone through most, but that's just the structure that's broken down. The biggest takeaway from that is that the Council of Presidents is kind of the governing body that oversees everything, and then the rest of us kind of fill in to move us forward. And then there's also the Eligibility Center. So that's what I've been tasked with in my daily duties. And I just wanted to take some time because this is the part of the year where things get crazy here in eligibility as we get ready for this next school year. So just want to go over some best practices, especially for those new members who might be joining. So the one thing that I would say is that right now is the time that you want to encourage your freshmen and any transfer students to get registered and start going through the eligibility process. There's no official deadline when it comes to eligibility. Now, obviously, if a student is competing in fall sports, they would like to get that decision before their season starts. So we always tell students, try and get all your information in by July 1st. That guarantees a full month for us to review you, get you a decision so that there's no anxiety once you show up on campus. When you're working with students, always encourage them to add all the schools that they've attended to their profile. A lot of times students will get delayed because they didn't add a school that they withdrew from. And unfortunately, we do need that transcript if a transcript is available. So sometimes students are thinking that I withdrew, I didn't attend, so I don't need to add this. And then when we do a check on that, we find that enrollment and end up adding that information and requesting it, which delays the process. So make sure that you're having those students at all the schools that they've attended. Um, I would also highly encourage you to designate an EC contact in NAIA Help. There's different roles that you can set individuals at. And so if you designate an EC contact, it just makes communication flow a lot more efficiently. And then as always, once you're set up in plainaia.org, make sure you're checking that website regularly. Any updates on a student's profile, any requests for documentation is going to be added there. And so that's all done in real time. So make sure you're checking that regularly. If you have any eligibility questions, please feel free to call us. The membership hotline number is 816-595-8304, and that's a direct connect. So you won't have to wait in a queue like you would if you were to call our main line. That will get you straight through to a representative. If you have any specific questions, because I know we did get some questions about eligibility before this workshop started, definitely feel free to email me. My email is swhite@naia.org.
Great, thank you, Sam. We'd like to now, before we get into our trivia and making sure that we answered all of your questions today, we do have some time to take some questions. And so far, I don't see anything in the chat box, but if you want to unmute yourself and feel free, we can at least take at least 5 to 10 minutes of questions if you have any. Don't be shy. This is your chance. Remember, you're only a newbie once, and then you're expected to know everything. Just kidding.
And I will say, if you're looking at the exhibit hall, for those, if your institution is recruiting international students, I would highly encourage you to take a look at the NCRED booth. It's going to have valuable information about international student process when it comes to submitting documents and things of that nature.
No questions?
I think I saw 2 pop
There is
up.
one question in there now,
Okay.
Paige, from Victor.
Okay, Victor, could you read it? I'm not seeing the questions, so if you wouldn't mind reading that.
Yeah. He's asked, when will the new term be updated on ECP?
Yes, so the new term on ECP, I'll have to double check, but I believe that switches over on June 1st.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Okay, now Desha, excuse me, Desha has asked if it's possible to get a copy of this PowerPoint.
Absolutely. I will send it out to everyone after the presentation, since I have all of your emails.
I have a question. So I think you said that all the legislation was going to be discussed during the business meeting, and I think that's an hour and a half. How likely is the business meeting to take substantially longer than that? Because when we discuss a lot of the legislation as a conference, there was a lot of discussions, a lot of addendums, a lot of conversation about what that would look like. So can you kind of describe, is it possible that thing can take up to like 5-6 hours?
Well, usually by the time we get to the business meeting, all the caucuses and conversations have taken place. So we typically do have a few people that will bring up abstentions or conversations, but we seem to always make it through. So I would say we're in good hands. Chesney runs a tight ship. Good question though, because you don't want to be on for 5 hours. Anybody else?
All right, looks like I'm seeing some questions about the NCRED process. So the timeline for the NCRED process, generally NCRED is taking around 10 to 14 days. What NCRED does is they are a transcript evaluator. So they are taking international documents, whether that's secondary school documents or post-secondary school documents, and reviewing that information, determining the equivalent to US credits, and then sending that information to admissions offices as well as the eligibility center for eligibility reviews. So the timeline is typically 10 to 14 days. Generally, there's about another 5 days once the application is completed, or excuse me, the evaluation is completed. That 5 days is that time frame that it takes to get that information over to the eligibility center if the student needs an eligibility review. So start to finish, if a student is coming through for eligibility, when you're talking about the NCRED process, you're probably looking at around 10 to 20 days.
Okay, so we've got another question about eligibility. You want to take that one, Sam?
Oh, yeah, give me 1 second.
And then also about ACT and SAT test scores.
Yeah, so reasons for a student's profile to be delayed. Typically what we see is that the student didn't release all of their enrollment history. So sometimes what we'll see is that we'll get a transcript from a JUCO transfer, and on their transcript, they have transfer credits from another institution that we were not aware about, or excuse me, that we didn't know about. And so we'll have to request that document, because in order to issue out a decision for transfers, we have to have all of their academic transcripts on file. With regards to the profile on your shortlist showing as pending, that pending notice is because the student has not granted you access to review their profile. So that student would need to log in and grant you access. So anytime you add a student to your shortlist, there's a period where that student has to go into their profile and grant you access. Once they grant you access, that status will change from pending to approved. And then you'll have full access to their profile to check on their eligibility. As for ACT and SAT test scores, they are not required for incoming freshmen for this school year. So for the 21-22 school year, no freshmen have to send a test score in. They can gain eligibility based off of their high school GPA as long as it's above a 2.0. The caveat there is that they have to maintain a 2.0 during their freshman year in college. If they do have a qualifying test score and they end up getting a decision because they haven't submitted that test score yet, they still have a chance to send that test score in later on. As long as we receive the qualifying test score by the time they compete, we can remove that COVID exception from their profile and get that updated for you.
Great. And our next question is about there are some closed meetings listed as part of the convention. What we will do at the end of convention, we will have a convention recap that will give you the basics of each one of the sessions, the legislation that was passed, new membership, and it will definitely be in a synopsis. We typically try to send that out the Friday after convention, so hoping that that will get out this Friday, if not potentially then Monday. And Sam, do you want to take this last question? How do student athletes know to grant individuals like the FAR access to their profile?
Yeah, so all NAIA student athletes, when they come through the eligibility center, they have a task list, and it's broken up into a current task list as well as a completed task list. So for granting access to their NAIA schools, they go on to their current task list, and there's a task list that says approved shortlist access for such and such school. They'll click on that task, and it will open up a form where they just select yes or no, and then they submit that form. And if they select yes, then it will grant you access to their profile.
All right, great questions all. We will definitely be available for you all to submit us other questions that you have. Feel free to reach out to Sam and I. We only have 5 minutes left, and we want to make sure that we get to our trivia, that you have a chance to potentially win 2 Amazon gift cards is what we're offering today. So let's just see what we're going to ask, is Lori is going to be monitoring the chat box. So the first question is going to pop up in a second, and I'll have Lori keep track of each person who gets their answer right in the chat box. Are you all ready? There's only 6 questions, so maybe you had your coffee and you're ready for this. Okay, here we go. When did the NAI start? When did the NAI start? Oh, I see him coming in fast. That's going to be a tough one. There are several of you have the correct answer. It is 1937. And I'll have Lori grab who was the first one to get that one. Let's see who has the most points.
All right, that was Ellen
Okay, great.
Bernhardt.
Number 2. This should be easy. What is the convention theme? It's also in our Zoom backgrounds. All right.
All right, we got
You're awake.
Pete.
Good. Wonderful. And number 3, what was the latest sport that the NAI added? Yes, flag football. Oh, you guys are good. Hey, Lori, did you
Chrissy.
get that?
Yeah, Chrissy
Oh.
Moskowitz.
Okay, great. And the next one, where do you find the NAI resources page? On NAI.org. Yes, the for members page. Very nice. Okay, we have 2
All
more
right.
questions. When are membership dues and catastrophic insurance enrollments due? Sam really hopes you pay attention to this one. All right, we have a winner. Who was our first, Lori?
I'm sorry, what was the answer to the question? Was it July 15th?
Yes.
That would be Pete Kosek.
Okay,
That's 2 so far.
go Pete. Okay, here we go. This is really exciting. How many new members did the NAI bring in during the pandemic? Woo, this is huge.
Woo.
11.
Okay. Jennifer won that round.
Oh, I lied. There's actually one more question. This is tough. How many booths and round tables must you visit in order to reach level 4 of the Partner Engagement Incentive Plan? Ooh, I see several of you have the correct answer.
Erica
Erica with 12.
got in there first. All right.
I-
That's the last page. Last
This
question
is the
page.
last one. This is the last one.
Okay.
Name one new initiative the NAI has done in the past 3 years. It could be anything from passing legislation to adding a sport. I love it. Name, image, and likeness, flag football, lots of things. Diversity and inclusion. I don't know who was the first, but you guys are putting all kinds of great answers on here. Okay, so we're going to have 2 winners of the $25 Amazon gift cards. Lori, who might be the winners of those today?
Well, we know Pete definitely is one winner. He got 3 correct answers in there first.
Go Pete!
Yay, Pete. And then I believe Erica Alberton
Okay, this is fantastic.
is
We
our
will make sure
second
that
winner.
we get that mailed out to you by the end of the week. We really do appreciate you guys. We definitely want you all to connect with the NAI socially. Just really quickly, just to know the different platforms where you can find the information about what we're trying to do and how we're communicating with everyone. Facebook is, we put a lot of long form videos on there, players of the week, selection shows, things like that. Our Twitter handle, it's our quick information about what's happening with our sports, legislation. Specifically, we've done a lot of things with our student athletes and seasons of eligibility, especially with COVID questions, along with what you all have for your student athletes. And then LinkedIn is our professional network where we post a lot of jobs, what's happening with our legislation. So more of the business side of the operations. So we leave you today with hopefully you have a little bit more knowledge of the NAIA. And we would like to say we don't have any more time for questions, but if you could please submit those to Sam and I via email. We hope you have a great convention. We're super excited that you've joined us. And please feel free to reach out to us and have a wonderful day.